On the agenda tonight, it's time to ask yourself, who do you believe? Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So tonight's video could be an epic. Hopefully it won't go on too long, but there's a lot to cover because I was messaged on Facebook probably a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or two. I lose track of time, but the person messaged saying that they had listened to an Alter Bridge performance and they posted on a fan page, I think of the band Creed, that they were using pitch correction, and Alter Bridge were using pitch correction on this particular performance. And people didn't agree with this opinion as it was, because the person posting it was just stating that they could hear it and they didn't have definite proof that it was going on. Now, where things took a bit of a turn is when people associated with the band got involved and started having, I wouldn't say an argument, but having a discussion with this particular person about the use of pitch correction. And I have all the messages that were sent because this person has sent me them. And they've said that I can mention their name in this video as well. So the reason for this video is because the person who could hear the pitch correction and stated that they thought it was pitch corrected, they're just stating what they think. And they've been shouted down to say, no, it hasn't been used. Actually, to the point where they've been blocked from the group where they posted and made this, comment about it being pitch corrected. So I'm going to show the messages up on screen so you guys can see the conversation and the comments that were happening on Facebook. And I've got no reason to question the validity of these messages, mostly because with the people who are in the Alter Bridge camp who are conversing with Adam, they have verified accounts. They've got a tick next to their name so that people know that they are the people that they say they are. So it's all very official. And just for reference, before we get into it, Michael Tremonti is the brother of the guitarist and main songwriter in Alter Bridge, and he's the social media manager. And there's Tim Tournier as well, who is the band manager for Alter Bridge. So these are going to be the two names that you'll see in the upcoming messages. Also, the video that I was sent by Adam is their performance at the Royal Albert Hall, and I think this is what they're talking about here. So Tim messages Adam saying, clearly you don't know what Miles sounds like. All due respect, if they tuned this, it's the worst, or the single worst, pitch correction of all time. Personally, I'm not a fan of this mix at all, but you can hear plain as day that the vocal is flat in spots. It's real, dude. Why can't you accept that? There is harsh compression on the whole mix, no pitch correction. Also, dude has a 4-octave range and it's pure. He isn't soft like you claimed in earlier posts. He does too light when the song calls for it, but slams it when the song calls for it as well. You keep saying the same thing. Go to YouTube and look up the live stuff. There is rough stuff out there. There is amazing stuff out there. The band have cancelled whole projects of live releases because they won't put out something like you're describing. Believe it or not, I have seen the Pro Tools sessions, so that's it. So then this message, Michael says, I just spoke to Elvis, who produced the albums, and he laughed at your claims. Adam then said, give me a week and I'll analyse the DVD and some songs. It has pitch correction. So I think this is probably related to then sending it to me. It's been over a week, but I am analysing it now. And here we have another message from Michael, and it says, the DVD was not pitch corrected. That is fact. Miles has never used pitch correction in anything. So we've got some, bold statements here, or at least just flat out statements that pitch correction has never been used in anything. So then there's another message here from Michael saying, I know for a fact that no pitch correction has ever been used on anything Miles has done. Regardless of what you say, Miles is completely against pitch correction and told me he would quit singing before ever using it. No Alter Bridge album has any pitch correction. You are wrong on this, period. And here are a couple more comments from Michael. He says, you are making yourself sound silly with your claims. You are an outsider and I know the facts. And then underneath he says, you are so funny. Everyone is lying except you. You must be right, with lots of laughing faces here. And I mean, one thing that I would say, just from a professional point of view as a musician myself and someone who knows what goes on in the industry, I think it's very dangerous to say flat out that something definitely hasn't occurred if you're taking somebody's word for it and you don't know that it is a fact that what you're saying is true. If somebody said, oh, this is pitch corrected, or I think it's pitch corrected, I'd say, to the best of my knowledge, it isn't pitch corrected. Yeah, that's all you can say really. And, you know, I think Michael here is obviously, you know, of the opinion that it's never been used and it never will be used, and you know, Miles is going to quit as a singer before pitch correction's ever used on any Alter Bridge songs or performances. Now, of course, I don't get to see Adam's messages, what he was writing. I'm just getting the replies here. But Michael then says, I'm done wasting time with your nonsense. Live in your fantasy world. The people reading this thread can see right through you. Enjoy your delusions, and you are so right, with lots of laughing faces. And this message comes through from Tim, and it says, so I wasn't around for this live release, but it was before the guys even used a click live. That's all changed now, but even in this video, Miles Kennedy is flat. It's real. I can tell you, on the 2 live releases and 3 studio albums I've been in the room while they are making, they never pitch a vocal. They will run something 20 times to get a take. Miles is literally that level of a perfectionist. Royal Albert Hall was the same. Okay, so we've got a definite statement here to say that the Royal Albert Hall performance did not use pitch correction. I believe for words darker we used to take from the second night, as most of the audio video was, but the vocal isn't tuned. We mixed it and mastered it to help the vocal as much as we can, but we don't physically change anything on the vocal pitch wise. The only thing we have ever tuned in full transparency is a few of the horns in Addicted to Pain at Royal Albert Hall. If the band isn't happy with something, they won't release it before they let anyone do, and then it cuts off at the bottom of the screen. And then just a final message from Michael, who says, it's so funny how you need to be right when I have the actual facts and you have opinions, with lots of laughing faces. Now, for this analysis video, what I have is the released version of the performance that I was sent from the Royal Albert Hall on the official Alter Bridge channel. So what I have done is isolated the vocals, running through the pitch monitoring software, as always, and I have crowd shot footage of the same performance on the same night, and I've isolated those vocals and run it through the pitch monitoring software. So, as you guys know with my videos, if there's any change in pitch between these 2 vocals, then one of them has to be manipulated. It has to be edited, because it's going to be the same pitch. We're not talking about sound waves here. We're talking about the pitch, in almost infinite detail, the pitch that Miles is hitting live and the pitch that he's hitting when he's being filmed in the venue at the same time. And we've got those 2 pieces of audio. And I'm just going to do a quick experiment so you guys can maybe understand things on a deeper level with, the level of detail we're going into here. I'm going to just hold a note, sing a note, and I have my pitch monitoring software going. So this will show up on screen, and I'm going to sing the note. It's going to appear on the screen here. I'm then going to stop recording and play the note back out of the speakers and record that as well. And you will see it's going to be exactly the same pitch, because it's the same sound, it's the same audio, and it doesn't matter which microphone you use to record it because it's recording pitch, the pitch of what's going on, which never changes. So, this is why when somebody's singing, they might sing sharp of the note, and they'll say, oh, why did that go sharp? Oh, hang on, is this the microphone that makes the notes go sharp? No microphone does that. Singers aren't looking around for microphones that can get them to hit the high note because they need a sharp microphone. All microphones, no matter what it is, this microphone, the one on my phone, they all record pitch in exactly the same way. So it means that if somebody's recording it at the venue, the pitch that they are recording is going to be the same as the pitch of the microphones that they're using on the night and the pitch that's coming out of the speakers on the night. Let's now just hold a pitch. It even doesn't have to be an accurate note. There you go. So now I have both of those notes that I held, one recorded on my phone, the other was picked up by this microphone, and on screen, these are the two separate results. So here you can see, and I've put them apart to begin with so that you can see, and this is why I love doing analysis videos and looking at pitch, because pitch never lies. So have a look at this and have a look at the way that it is so replicated, even though there are different microphones picking this up. So we've got two totally different routes of how this has been picked up. So anyway, the point is that these are two separate microphones picking up the same noise that happened at the same time. You can see how the pitch, look at the line, the pitch never changes. And I know that some people, might get bored with the science of it, but this is showing that once you make a noise, and it can be any noise, every noise has a pitch to it. When you make a noise, that pitch is recorded and it is very, very specific. And these little changes that we have, you can see it's perfectly over the top of each other here, but all of these tiny variations are happening in a fraction of a second, and they are vocal cord vibrations. So you can record this noise with your phone. You can record it with a microphone. It doesn't matter. The pitch is always going to be the same. So if somebody's recording a gig and they're recording the vocal on their phone, the vocal that they're using on stage will have the same lines because it's measuring pitch. So the song is Words Darker Than Their Wings, and on the left hand side we've got the crowd shot footage, and on the right hand side the official release. I'm just going to let this play through. I'm going to just listen to the crowd. We'll have the crowd footage so you can get a vibe of it. Obviously there's going to be kind of lots of reverb and delay on the sound, and there might be some ambient noise in there as well, of course, but the pitch is the pitch. And here we have our first anomaly. On the left hand side, actually at the performance, you can see that this is clearly below the G sharp 4. That's where Miles's pitch was. That's the note he hit. And this is the same performance, the same night. And have a look on the right hand side. We've got this note has now magically moved up to the G sharp 4. So there's no other explanation for that. And actually, look, I didn't even notice this. We are between notes here, the A sharp 4 and the B 4. And over here, in between would be down here. It's now pretty much over the top of the B4. So that's been moved up significantly as well. So there's no other explanation for this, as I showed you with the demonstration with my phone and then recording into the microphone, playing out of speakers. Pitch is pitch. It doesn't move. And you can see how this is exactly the same vocal, but this one on the night was flat. Anyway, we'll just let it play through, and I'll give you the official. I don't want this video to get copyright struck, but we'll just hear a little bit of the official vocal.
but still it is gone.
I mean, the thing is, Miles has a great voice, and I've said this in other analysis videos, that he has really accurate pitch. Because look, he's just directly over the C#4 live with this person who's, you know, right next to the stage recording it.
Just don't you lose hope.
And here we have the next anomaly, clearly flat of the B3, actually live, and it's now been moved up to the B3 perfectly over the line. Again, there's no explanation for that other than pitch correction.
Swear I never dreamed that
I mean, this is clearly corrected. You can hear the processing going on, but just look at the right hand side where, you know, we just kind of moved over these lines. And when we go up to this F#4, and I mean, here's another point. The F#4 here has just been snapped to that line, so it can't be missed. Whereas here, even though we don't see where it ended up, we can see that that line is clearly going through the F#4. So live, it was sharp somewhere up here, but here it flattens out at the F#4. So again, no other explanation for that other than pitch correction.
Now don't you let go. I swear I still believe, though I don't.
Oh, and have a look at this. This section here is right between the A#3 and the B3. So he's maintaining a pitch there that is, yeah, pretty much between notes. But then here we get so much more of a precise picking out of the notes. I'd be interested to know if that was ambient noise, because, you know, it could have been. Let's have a listen. No, it's just his voice is between. So yeah, again, not only has it been pitch corrected, it's actually been, you know, very heavily pitch corrected to be straight over these lines to go the, you know, they're trying to get it on those lines because it was, you know, not that precise. But we'll let it play on. Yeah, same thing here, very strictly over the B3. Here we don't even really make it up to the B3. I mean, this is about as conclusive as you can get. Miles started that halfway between the G4 and the G#4 and then ascended to the note. And here, look at how corrected that has been, just stuck over this line. You know, immediately goes up to it, sticks on it, and then comes down perfectly here. And this actually live ascends a bit, and here it's actually going down. So it's almost the opposite of what's happening live. So another thing that I just want to point out is that, you know, some people will say, oh, you know, there might be footage from one night and another night, and you're comparing two separate performances. We're not, because if you look at the movements, look at how Miles's left hand here is just touching over the top of the mic, exactly the same, you know, because it's the same performance on the same night. And here, his right hand is just floating up here in this kind of shape, and it's just floating up here in this kind of shape. So it's exactly the same time we're looking at. This is the same vocal, but one is the live vocal, and one's the pitch corrected vocal. So anyway, I mean, the thing is, we can go through this, but with the, I mean, the reason that yeah, I'm skipping through it, look at this. We've got to have a listen to this, because Miles doesn't really hold a note here and ascends, lands between notes, but here he's now magically bang on this melody, you know, hitting a note here, ascending, hitting another note. So let's listen to that. First of all, have a listen to the Royal Albert Hall. There we go. So he's you know, going up to between the G4 and the G#4. So now let's take that back and listen to the pitch corrected version.
Remember the years.
I mean, night and day. Remember the years. That compared to and kind of just going up with no real discernible note of melody there. And I'm not having a go at Miles here. I'm pointing out the pitch correction. All we need to do is see one line that is changed. And from the experiment that I showed you and the proof that I showed you earlier, pitch is pitch. It doesn't have feelings. It's objective. It lands where it lands. If you have the same vocal, recorded over any microphone, and it is the same vocal and it hasn't been manipulated, it's going to be in the same place, and it always is going to be in the same place. It's like a fingerprint. As soon as you mess with a fingerprint, you're going to be able to see it very clearly on screen when you're analysing pitch in this kind of detail. So anyway, back to the whole point of this video, because we've got somebody who said, I think this is pitch corrected. Of course, saying you think it's pitch corrected, it isn't proof. But they were shouted down, not by just members of the public, but people that are connected to the band and closely connected to the band. And, we saw in those comments even saying, go back to your fantasy world. We know the truth. We're on the inside. We know what happens. It begs the question, the people that are actually on the inside and in the know, are they actually even in the know? They think they're in the know, but do they realise they're being lied to? Or maybe they're all lying. So it's just something that, the band and the producers and people that know the band, they know it's pitch corrected, so they all lie about it collectively. Or are they taking the producer's word for it that nothing is pitch corrected ever and it never will be in the future, but the producer's lying and he knows he's lying because somebody has applied pitch correction? And the person that said, wherever you go, look at this, flat, suddenly on the line. So somebody has done this. It's a manual process. A producer has pitch corrected this vocal. So, again, asking the question, who knows about this? Is it the fact that producers are lying? And there was one guy that said, I've been in the studio when they've been doing the sessions and there isn't any pitch correction applied on anything. You think, well, are they all doing it for show, for other people who might know the band? And as soon as they leave, they whip out the Melodyne and start, correcting it. Or does Miles do his 20 takes of vocal and when he leaves, the producer just puts it through Melodyne anyway? So yeah, when I say about the rabbit hole just being ridiculously deep, it's now at the point where who can you trust? Do you trust the people who say they're on the inside who actually are lying, or they think they're telling the truth but they're being lied to? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me personally, as a musician myself, as an artist myself, I'm all about honesty, integrity, transparency, and I think that if they are putting down and, calling a person names for saying something that is actually true and they know it's true, I think that that's shameful. To have a go at somebody who is actually saying something that's true and you're trying to shout them down or make them look like, they're, I don't know, they're isolated, that they're just, maybe, I don't know, an outcast or something because they're living in this fantasy world. The person is living in the real world. It's the people who are replying that are in the inner circle that are living in the fantasy world thinking that this isn't pitch corrected. Again, it's this, I don't know, this resistance to never sing or have heard a wrong note. And I know for a fact that this song from the Royal Albert Hall has been reacted to by loads of reaction channels, and they're obviously saying, oh wow, it's amazing, I can't believe how brilliant this is and all this, but they don't know. And this is the other thing, that vocal coaches and even maybe artists themselves or people that have reaction channels, they don't know this stuff. They, I guess, aren't analysing stuff before they're listening to it. They're just assuming that this pitch accuracy is natural. But I say they should know. It's difficult for me to say because I do know. And I know how vocal cords work. And I know how pitch works. And I know how, A440 standard pitch, equal temperament. I know how that all works. So I personally think that a vocalist, especially a vocal coach, should know how it all works. So then when they are listening to something, they should be able to hear A440 standard pitch, because I can hear it. But when they're listening to something, they should say, by the way, if you want to sing it this accurately, you will need to buy Melodyne, because that's what they're using to pitch correct it. But if you're quite happy having, anyone will be happy with Miles's voice, naturally, you can expect it to go sharp and flat, because that's what vocal cords do. That's what a natural voice is, and that's what expression is. At the end of the day, after all. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. As always, let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!